Is something missing from your life? Are you searching for a place to belong? Do you think something is holding you back from your untapped potential? Well, I might have the answer. And it's Nix? How do you say this? NXIVM. Whatever. If you give me a second, I can explain how a self-empowerment organization might be the answer to your problems, if you're rich and preferably also a white woman. We want to hear a fun fact? NXIVM is both a heartburn medication and a sex cult, an alleged sex cult. NXIVM is a hard thing to explain. Depending on who you ask, it's either a series of executive success programs, a multi-level marketing program, a sex cult, or as their website puts it, a community guided by humanitarian principles that seek to empower people and answer important questions about what it means to be human. What the fuck does that even mean? Like, what does that actually mean?
The founder of NXIVM, Keith Raniere, is about to go on trial for a whole bunch of charges, including sex trafficking and forced labor, and that could put him in prison for the rest of his life.
So let's start at the beginning. NXIVM, for some reason, is spelled like a bad SoundCloud rap group, and it was started in 1998 as an executive success program, aka a way to target rich people and separate them from their money. Over the years, NXIVM grew and evolved, transforming itself into more of a members-only self-help organization that could be bought into like a fucked up Equinox. Headquartered in Albany, New York, the organization began opening chapters across the US, Canada, and Mexico, charging upwards of $1,800 a year for membership. They also offered one-on-one sessions with one of Raniere's disciples called EMs, or Explorations of Meaning. These were sessions where you would basically tell the highest ranking members of the organization your deepest, darkest secrets that you believed were negatively impacting your life so you could work through them and re-examine your beliefs. Replacing data with data is what they called it. And you might be asking, why does any of this matter? It's just rich idiots being duped out of their own money. Well, NXIVM became national news when it was revealed within this intricate pyramid scheme adjacent New Agey bullshit club, there was a secret sorority called DOS. DOS was named after a loose translation for a Latin phrase meaning lord or master over slave women. Prosecutors say it was a system of sex slavery where the highest ranking women of NXIVM recruited other rich, attractive female members to become Keith's sex slaves. This was all accomplished through a system of blackmail, physical coercion, and manipulation. And in order to be initiated into DOS, the women were branded with Raniere's initials and had to provide collateral, which wound up just being nude photos and/or embarrassing personal information that would hurt their reputation if it was released to the public. And after the New York Times broke the story of this mysterious sex cult within an already shady organization, a federal investigation resulted in the arrest of several top-ranking members. Allison Mack. She was an actress that I had never heard of prior to this explainer video that was apparently in the show Smallville. She was one of the highest-ranking members of NXIVM and DOS. Allison is facing up to 20 years in prison after pleading guilty to charges including sex trafficking, forced labor, and racketeering. Nancy Salzmann, former psychiatric nurse who co-founded NXIVM and served as its president, pled guilty to racketeering charges after the feds found $500,000 in cash stashed in her house in Albany.
Lauren Salzmann, Nancy's daughter, who served on NXIVM's board for several years where she oversaw DOS branding ceremonies. She pleaded guilty to conspiracy charges in March, where she confessed that she had knowingly and intentionally harbored an unnamed woman in a locked room for almost 2 years. Claire Bronfman, the heiress to the Seagram Liquor Company, also served on NXIVM's executive board, where she allegedly gave the company access to her family's wealth. Claire is currently out on a $100 million bond and has pled not guilty to racketeering and racketeering conspiracy charges. She has, however, pled guilty to harboring an illegal migrant for financial gain and identity theft charges. Kathy Russell, NXIVM's bookkeeper for over a decade, was charged with racketeering charges as well as smuggling illegal migrants into the US. She's currently out on bail, and after being questioned in front of a New York grand jury, she pled the fifth over 80 times, eventually pleading guilty to visa fraud.
And lastly, we have Keith Raniere. who was arrested in Mexico in March of 2018, where he had been for over a year after the FBI began their investigation of NXIVM.
Your man Keith is being charged with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, wire fraud conspiracy, forced labor conspiracy, and conspiracy to commit identity theft.
Good fucking God. That's so much crime. He's due to appear for his first day in court since the arrest later this month, where Vice will be covering the case. And if you thought all of this meant that NXIVM has been shut down, the organization is technically still running, but they've suspended all enrollment, curriculum, and events until further notice. In a message posted to its members online, they look forward to resuming their efforts when these allegations are resolved. So, maybe don't get into conversations with wealthy, unassuming white women at farmers markets when they invite you to a retreat upstate. Maybe just don't go to upstate New York.
You can get so much trouble for that.